life. I'm Angel. So today, before I even get started, I just want to give you guys like a quick update. So I just moved back home, which is why I didn't post last Friday. And that being said, now I truly feel as though I'm starting a new chapter, a new beginning to my life. And so I want to start it off right. So I've started to focus on my journey of self-love. And what's crazy is that about 3 weeks before moving, I actually met a friend, and he was going through similar issues and situations where he was trying to get over a relationship, and I was trying to learn to be okay with being alone. And so like as we're getting to know each other, as we're talking, we realized that we were on similar paths. And so he sends me a video called A Cure for Loneliness, by a YouTuber of the name Young Don the Sauce God, and I'll leave the link in my description box. So I decided to watch this video, and he starts off by explaining that in order to avoid being lonely, he would jump from relationship to relationship. But it got to a point where he realized that he was not only hurting himself, he was also hurting others. So he made the conscious decision to be alone, and while he was being alone, he decided that, you know, he read a lot of books, and he read a lot of books, self-help books, but he never looked up any self-help books about being alone and being okay with being alone. And so he finds this book called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. And after he reads it, he realizes that the whole entire time that he's trying to focus on loving somebody else or loving something or filling that void, he could have sent that love inward. And so he starts to do so. And as he's doing it, he's focusing on himself, he's focusing on his YouTube channel, and he begins to expand, and he's almost at like 1 million subscribers now. But that is awesome. That was one of his goals. But the thing that resonated with me is the fact that he's decided to put all of that energy into himself. And so I decided that I wanted to read the book for myself, and the author is Kamal Ravikant. And so the book from the beginning, it starts to convict you, it starts to poke holes at you, and he starts off by explaining why he even wrote the book. And what had happened was he went to a conference that was very similar to like a TED Talk, and so he had to talk, and his question was it was me paraphrasing, but it was like, if I could do one thing. And so he says, if I can do one thing, I would share the secret of life with you. And the audience starts to laugh, but he continues to talk for another 2 minutes. And he discusses how he got to a point of being okay with being alone. And this is me summarizing, but afterwards, everybody is so interested in what he has to say. They have so many questions for him. And so he realizes and decides that he's going to write down the key points that he did and the do's and don'ts on his path of getting to this point of being okay. And so he like not much longer after that, he has a friend who was going through something, so he sends these key points to that friend. And then while he's at it, he decides to send it to other close friends as well, one being a blogger. And the blogger, his friend, says, you know, I know this is my blog, but this is like, you've written something so well that I want to post it on my blog. I want other people to be able to have access and be able to read it. And so he posted, and he tells them before, because he's kind of lenient, he's like, well, what about other people, like what will they think? And his friend tells him, and he goes, I don't do a post now unless I'm worried about what people will think about me. And this is something that like made me really excited and like felt good to read, because it was like the complete opposite of my mentality when I was starting out. Like I told you, it took me about 3 years to even start my channel. And so to have and read that and hear somebody's own thought process of being able to say, you know, it's not going to please everybody, but if it makes you happy, if it makes you feel good, and it's able to help someone, then that's all that matters. And that's something that now I keep in the back of my mind whenever I make any type of posts, any type of videos. And so I continue to read the book. And as I'm starting, you know, explains to you what the book is going to be about. It's about loving yourself. And he explains that it's a practice. It's not one and done. It's something that you're going to constantly have to work at. And so he also explains that to love yourself, you have to love yourself with the same intensity you would use to pull yourself up if you were hanging off a cliff with your fingers. And so I try to picture myself in this situation. And I don't know about you, but if I'm hanging off a cliff, I'm going to do everything in my power to save my life. And so now whenever I'm focused on loving myself, whether that be with a practice, a meditation, or just, you know, simply just thinking about it, I try to equate that intensity that I would have for trying to save my life when it comes to loving myself. And I just feel as though that it just has a great effect when thinking about it. And so I continue to read the book, and I'm not going to tell you about the entire book, because I hope that after I tell you about the book, you'll want to read it for yourself. But there are some key points that I do want to discuss and talk about that resonated with me. And so he had some questions in the book as well, and one that stood out to me was, he said, I could love another and wish them well, but what about me? And that's something that really resonated with me, because I know that and a lot of times I am that person who likes to focus on other people and like to help other people with their situations, what they're going through. And a lot of times I've forgotten about myself, and I've realized that I was forgetting about myself. And so and also one time I'll never forget is my uncle came home from college, and he asked me how I was, and I immediately went to talking about friends and family and everything else but myself. And he, like, after I'm done talking, he goes, you know, that's great and all, but I asked you how you were doing. And ever since, like, that, even going throughout life afterwards, that's always been in the back of my mind. And so now I'm of course going to be there for friends and family, but I'm going to put the same amount of energy, if not more, into myself, because it starts with you. I'm a strong believer that you have to love yourself first before you can love anybody else. And so that is where that post that I posted a couple days ago, if you haven't seen, so it's on my Instagram, it's on all my other social media, my Twitter, Facebook. And so it goes, beautiful irony, fall in love with yourself, let your love express itself, and the world will beat a path to your door to fall in love with you. And I just felt as though that quote was so beautiful, because if you think about it, if you think about the fact that you are a reflection of what is inside. So if you have nothing but love on the inside, it's going to reflect out, and you'll be able to help not only yourself but others. And so that is what I've been keeping in mind while I've started this journey, and why I continue on this journey, is to remember to love myself first. And not only am I on the journey, but the person that I met, he is on the journey with me, and I encourage you all to get on this journey as well. And like I said, you know, my comment section is a community, so I feel free to discuss whatever you may be going through down in the comment section. I will be interacting as well. I will leave the link to the book in my description box, and feel free to share this video with other friends and family. If you haven't done so, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. But that being said, I just hope that this resonated with somebody, and that I'm able to help somebody just as much as I'm helping myself. And I just hope that you just go out today and live your best life.